guys, I'm Tonakshi and you're watching me on ENT Live और आज मेरे साथ है Mr. James Higginson, an Emmy Award winner, जिनकी एक बहुत ही ऐसी रिलेटेबल मैं बोलूँ डॉक्यूमेंट्री आ रही है जिसका नाम है शुद्धि और ये है लेप्रोसी से रिलेटेड। इसके बारे में ज़्यादा डिटेल्स अभी नहीं दूंगी बिकॉज आई वांट यू गाइस टू नो ऑल अबाउट इट from the man himself. Hi James, how are you doing?
Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, I would like to know about the Shuddhi, the concept that it is. Please tell me briefly about the concept of it.
Well, about 12, 13 years ago, I was here with some students from Berlin, where I teach, in India. And we do a co-production with the university here in Delhi. And when I had free time, I started to travel. And I'm an intuitive, curious person. I just love to travel around. So I was looking at Rajasthan. I was in Jodhpur, and where I was staying, the man said, I'm going tomorrow to give some food to some leprosy people at an ashram. And I said, can I go? And he said, well, of course. So I went and I spent a few hours and talked with them, and they told me their stories through a translator. And it was December and they needed blankets and it was very cold. I said, well, let's go buy blankets. So we went out and we bought 100 blankets and distributed them the next day. And then when I was distributing them, they talked a little bit more about their stories. And this was the first time I'd ever been exposed to leprosy and people that were suffering from leprosy. And I was learning about the drug treatment program and all of this. And I said, there has to be something more that has to be done. This should be eradicated in our lifetime because the MDT program is there. I said, so when I have time, I'm going to come back and I'm going to create something to help you. And then it took 12 years before I retired from Hollywood. And then certain things happened. And then it was at the top of my list once I finished. So I started almost 3 years ago with the project. And came back last year and spent 4 months shooting.
Who are these people in this documentary? Are these the real life patients or they are just the actors?
No. These are all real life. It's a documentary hybrid in that it's documentary, but then I took the assimilation after I did interviews with all the 9 patients appear in the film, okay? 9 out of 30 that are at the ashram. And I gave them as much time as they needed. We set the cameras up and we let them talk, you know, and with my interpreter was in Mavardi, was the language. So my interpreter spoke that naturally. He was from Jodhpur. And they just told me their life stories. And then I was able to ask them questions about what happened here, what happened then, how did you feel here? And it was really interesting to hear Singara Devi, for instance, when she was diagnosed, her husband left her and kicked her out and then remarried. And Bharti Bai, her story is that when in the village where she was, when they found out that she had it, they didn't want to talk with her. And she said, if someone would just say hello to me, I would be happy. And Danji, the main character in the film, God bless him, he is such a wonderful soul. He was, his mother had leprosy and he came to the ashram with her. And then a number of years later, he developed it. And he spent 50 years of his life, he's 74 now, he spent 50 years at the ashram in the hospital. On the inside, they're all the same. But on the outside, because of what's happened in their life, they're differently capable. Though different, we're all together as drops in the river flowing into our beyond. And that's the main message of Shuddhi, is that we're all together. There shouldn't be a separation between the disabled and the normal people. We must find a way to be inclusive, you know, because now leprosy is not a disease that it's a disease of no consequence, in that you have the MDT program, and which is one of the reasons I did the film, to also raise awareness so more people can be tested so that they can be taking the drug program. And then they're included in society without, you know, there's no physical disabilities any longer because people are found to have the disease much earlier. It's earlier detection.
So actually the thing is that in 2005, India was declared leprosy eliminated.
Yes.
Why do you think people will consider this documentary significant now?
Well, in 2005, yes, it was decreed that it was eradicated. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Leprosy, I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not a medical professional. I'm a filmmaker, so I can't speak. You need to talk with medical professionals to get the exact details. But my understanding, it's a bacterial infection. So it's much more difficult to eradicate it. And right now, I think they do a PrEP++ program as a pilot program to identify areas or villages where there may be an outbreak. And I think they're preparing to create a blanket program in the next few years that will cover more of India to identify the areas. And there should be no shame. There should be no stigma around the fact that you have leprosy. You can just take the pills for 1 year, and for all of your family members. If I have it, I take the medication for 1 year and I'm cured. Yeah. And all of my family members or the people that are in contact with me, they take it for 6 months and they will never develop it. So it's a very simple solution. We just need to get past this fear and ignorance of the stigma.
Okay. So if we actually look at your filmography, let's talk a bit about your journey as well. Okay. You mostly take up the real life, real world projects. Mm-hmm. Why is that so?
And I think it comes back to when I was in high school. There was a course called Man's Inhumanity to Man, and it was an elective. And in that course, the teacher talked about how humans can be either supportive or non-supportive of each other, and pointed out different ways that the human experience is pushing down other humans. And this affected me. I said, this is not right. I need to take a stand and stand for things that I see need to be corrected.
Yeah.
So my first big project as an artist was called Portraits of Violence. It's a photo essay, it's a book, 14 stories of domestic violence in America. 14 different stories. And I shot them as still pictures because it's a little bit more powerful and impactful. I shot them with actors as though I was shooting 14 separate films, but only still pictures. And I looked at the different aspects of domestic violence in American culture because I'm anti-gun, I'm anti-violence. There is no reason for people to kill each other. Yeah. There is no reason, seriously, for people not to support and love one another.
Yeah, true that. You also wanted to do medicine, but then you left it and became a filmmaker. What's the story behind that?
Okay, well, this may get the parents in the audience a little bit upset. Okay, I love my parents. My parents were extremely supportive. Yeah. They wanted me to be a doctor. Okay, I loved animals, so I was in a pre-vet program at Penn State in college, and I realized in the third year I took an elective that was watercolor, and the teacher said, "What is your major?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to graduate next semester in biology." He said, "Kid, you're in the wrong major. You are an artist." And I'd always painted and drawn since I was a little kid. And I said, I really want to be an artist. So I finished my degree and I started working. I was working in Boston University doing cancer research for 2 years, but at night I would go to art school. And I put a portfolio together and I said, if I applied to the most difficult school in the US for design, and I said, if I get in, I'm going to quit my job at Boston University and go and become an artist. I can always come back and do research. So it happened. I got in and I quit my job. And you can hear imagine the conversation with my father, hi Dad, yeah, I'm moving to California where I've never been before and going to art school. Yeah. What? They were just worried about me. But I said, don't worry, it'll be fine. And I went and I never looked back. Yeah. I've been an artist from that day. But always a scientist at heart. That's why I think my investigation, my experimentation, my science will never leave me in my art.
Okay. Achha, we have a lot of people in our audience who love Bollywood. What are your thoughts about Bollywood? Do you follow any particular actor or director or anyone?
Well, I have to say with Indian cinema, I'm a novice. Okay. Which I'm very sorry to say, but I am starting to work my way through like Sanjit Ray's huge portfolio of films. Yeah. And last night I even watched Singh's Celluloid Man, which is an amazing piece. But Bollywood, like RRR, of course, huge last year, huge. Yeah. People dancing in the aisles in America. I mean, it was such a celebration. Yeah. I mean, I know you're an actress. Have you ever been in a Bollywood film?
I have done a few shows.
You have?
Yeah, I have. I've done a few short films as well, music video as well. But
did you get to dance and things like this?
Unfortunately not.
Oh.
But there was a sequence, like a song sequence that was written for me in one short film.
No.
Yeah.
No, you have to send me the link, please.
I'll show you that.
Because because I thought, you know something, as I've been watching them, I'm like, gosh, you know, I have a little bit of acting behind me, also, you know, like performance type of thing. I said, you know, like if I take my hat off and my glasses, could I be a good bad guy? What do you think?
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess
an
so.
American bad guy in a Bollywood film? I mean, this could be fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a dream.
Yeah.
That would be a dream for
Yeah.
that to happen. But I would love to grow. I'm always, my idea is that, okay, I was a scientist, and then I was a painter, and then I was a photographer, and I worked for 30 years in film professionally, and now I'm a filmmaker, and I'm always growing. You know, life, we only have one shot in life, so you got to keep growing and changing and developing and be curious. So I'm like, I'm curious.
Yeah. But if you get a chance to direct a Bollywood film, like a typical Bollywood commercial film,
Oh my God.
who would you like to direct? Like any actor that you really admire?
I would like to, I don't know their names, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. Yeah. But I would like to direct some kids that are like 10 to 15 years old, because that energy, you know, can be explosive on the screen. Not someone that, I can't say that it would be horrible to have someone that was more traditionally professional and older and established, but I think that age is where, you know, you can really influence. And that's what I love, working with students. I love working with kids, you know, and my message is always, what do you want to say? Yeah. You know, don't be afraid. You know, you can stay in your box, you can stay in your area, but always look for the angle. You know, if something touches your heart, if the story touches your heart, find a way to tell that story. You know, what is special for you? You have a voice. Media, this media is amazing. You know, the reach and the power that is here to change lives for the better. And that's also what I like to inspire kids with, is this idea of creating hope. Yeah. You know, bringing us into a better future and not being divisive, being inclusive, you know?
Yeah, that's great. And I also agree with you that kids have some different energy altogether. Yeah. They come with so much, you know, like they come with an intention to learn and grow and have fun also. Yeah. So that's great. There's one more thing that I would really like to know right now is I've just heard that Indian government is giving incentives to filmmakers. And what is exactly that? Can you just explain?
Yeah, I was amazed at NFDC in Goa. They announced that now the co-productions, the Indian government is giving 40% incentive to co-productions, and then the states are giving 20 to 25% rebate, and then if significant content is Indian, an extra 4%. This is almost 70% of your budget is possible as an incentive to shoot in India. I said, wow, I mean, this is a game changer. Yeah. I mean, I really think this is so smart of the government and so smart of the states to support this. This could bring the world, I mean, I know the world is looking very much at India cinema now because it's, you know, it won the Oscar last year. It was nominated also for the feature documentary category in the Oscar. Yeah. So there's a lot of view towards Indian cinema, but I think this can bring the locations of India to the world.
Yeah, I agree, completely agree. And that's a great
it's
initiative
exciting.
as well.
It's very exciting.
Very exciting, definitely. So you showed your documentary Shuddhi to the people in Rajasthan, if I'm not wrong, already. Yeah. What was their reaction?
Oh my God, it was so sweet. I mean, I got an LED screen and found a company that could bring the LED screen to the hospital, to the ashram. We set it up in the courtyard, and then we laid down the mats, and everyone sat, and we all sat together, and they were laughing. And Basanti Devi, who's in the film, and she's singing one of her songs for me. When she heard herself singing, she started singing along with it, and a little bit of dancing. And I realized what they told me afterwards was like, thank you, James, thank you so much. We had no idea that after spending so long here, that we may be able to see ourselves in a film that may be able to help others. And they were really happy. It's almost as though that just our interaction was giving them hope. And they said, people come and they throw crackers at us or they throw some food and then they run away. But you've come and you sat for weeks and talked with us. And you got to know us, and you spent time, and you cared. And I said, yeah, I cared. I care about you. I care about each one of you. Her Ma, who's blind in one eye, you know, she lost her brother when she was very young, and she's lost her memory since then. And she's such a sweet, sweet soul. And she's so funny. In the film, there's the sequence with monkeys, and the monkeys always come to the tree outside her room. So every afternoon at 3 o'clock, she's out with a stick pounding the pavement to chase the monkeys away. And she goes, monkeys are everywhere, in Hindi. I don't know how to say that in Hindi, but she goes, monkeys are everywhere. She says that every day.
Yeah.
It's just so cute, you know?
It is. And very heartwarming also to even hear about that. So is there any other project that you're working on after Shuddhi?
Well, my idea is I'd like to do a feature, and it's called Nikki and Alex, and it's a love story. It's a love story on 3 different levels of reality. Because I think this new movement of different versions of reality, I want to shoot it live, I want to shoot it with Unreal Engine, and I want to do animation. So it's 3, so through the course of telling the story, you're not sure which level is the actual reality of the film.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's a bit of an experiment, and it's combining 3 different possibilities. But I'm hoping, this is my wish. And we don't have the funding yet. So I'm working on trying to secure the funding. So, so if anyone has funding and wants to invest in a film,
just reach out to him.
Please reach out to me.
All right. And looking forward to that, of course.
Thank you.
But let's root for Shuddhi, and all the very best to Jameson for that as well. And thank you very much for giving us time. It was a pleasure chatting with you today.
It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you.